Welcome, seekers of the truth, to the Magical Services channel. So this is going to be a most supreme career horoscope for the general collective for the weekend that is between August 14th through August 16th of this year of 2026. With that said, let's get into your horoscope. So the career story of this weekend is fundamentally about turning and expanding professional vision into something concrete, credible, and strategically useful. The strongest signature is the tightening Mercury-Jupiter conjunction in Leo, with Mercury advancing from 7 degrees Leo to 12 degrees Leo, while Jupiter moves from 9.8 degrees to 10.4 degrees Leo. This is not simply a period in which Mercury or Jupiter operates independently. Their increasingly concentrated conjunction creates the dominant intellectual and professional atmosphere. Ideas become larger, communication becomes more consequential, and there is a strong impulse to make one's knowledge, creativity, authority, or vision visible. Because this conjunction develops inside a broader Leo concentration with the Sun, the weekend favors leadership through expression, presenting an idea, promoting a service, teaching, publishing, negotiating, marketing, pitching, building a public profile, or taking greater ownership of one's professional identity. The timing matters. On August 14th, Mercury is still several degrees from Jupiter, so the emphasis is on developing and articulating the idea. By August 15th, the two are very close, and by August 16th, their conjunction is essentially exact. Consequently, the weekend has a progressive quality. What begins as an idea or conversation can become a much more defined proposition by Sunday. The waxing moon reinforces this development, beginning only at a 2.1 degree illumination on August 14th and reaching 16.7 degrees by August 16th. The lunar cycle is moving away from the recent solar reset and toward growth. The moon itself moves from Virgo into Libra, shifting the emphasis from improving the work, correcting inefficiencies, and organizing practical details toward negotiation, presentation, cooperation, and professional relationship management. In career terms, this is a useful sequence. First, make the work better, then make the way you present and exchange that work better also. However, the expansion generated by the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction is not operating without resistance. Mercury's relationship with Uranus in Gemini introduces a strong disruptive and innovative component. Uranus remains around 5.4 degrees Gemini while Mercury travels through early Leo, creating a persistent square that makes the professional mind unusually receptive to unconventional information, technological solutions, unexpected opportunities, and sudden changes of direction. This is potentially excellent for entrepreneurship, digital work, communications, problem solving, and breaking out of stale professional patterns. Yet the same configuration can make the rapidly expanding Mercury-Jupiter conjunction excessively confident or impatient. A brilliant idea can arrive faster than the evidence required to validate it. A sudden opportunity can appear more significant than it ultimately proves to be. The career advantage, therefore, comes from rapid innovation followed by deliberate verification rather than from impulsive commitment. That distinction becomes especially important because the weekend's principal frictional signature is the Mars-Neptune square. Mars moves through early Cancer, while retrograde Neptune remains around 4 degrees Aries, keeping their square tight throughout the period. This is the major aspect governing the difference between wanting to act and knowing exactly what action is appropriate. Mars supplies initiative, urgency, competitiveness, and the desire to produce a result. Neptune introduces ambiguity, idealism, uncertainty, and occasionally distorted judgment. In practical career terms, this can manifest as energy being directed toward poorly defined objectives, enthusiasm outrunning resources, unclear responsibilities, unrealistic schedules, or professional activity that feels productive without producing measurable progress. The solution is not passivity, it is precision. The stronger the ambition becomes under Mercury Jupiter, the more important it is to establish exact objectives, deliverables, deadlines, costs, and responsibilities before committing substantial resources. The financial dimension carries a similar warning um, throughout this weekend through the Venus in Libra opposing retrograde Neptune in Aries. Venus progresses from 7.1 degrees to 9.5 degrees Libra, while Neptune remains near 4 degrees Aries. So questions of value, compensation, professional relationships, agreements, and financial expectations become increasingly relevant. The constructive expression is excellent for diplomacy, presentation, aesthetics, negotiation, client relations, and creating an attractive professional proposition. The difficult expression is overvaluation. Something can look profitable, prestigious, harmonious, or promising without having sufficient substance behind it. Therefore, the weekend favors negotiated value rather than assumed value. Money should be attached to explicit terms. Partnerships should have clearly understood obligations. Promises should be translated into measurable commitments. At the same time, the larger structural picture is considerably more constructive than the Mars-Neptune tension alone would suggest. Jupiter's relationship with Uranus and Saturn provides an important bridge between expansion, innovation, and structure. Jupiter around 10 degrees Leo forms a supportive sextile to Uranus around 5 degrees Gemini and a broad trine to retrograde Saturn around 14 degrees Aries. This means the weekend is not merely about generating exciting ideas. There is genuine potential to connect creative expansion with technological innovation and longer-term structural development. The most productive professional move is therefore not simply to pursue novelty. It is to identify which new idea can actually be incorporated into a durable system. That theme is reinforced by the longer-range Uranus-Pluto trine between Uranus in Gemini and retrograde Pluto in Aquarius. This is the deeper transformational background behind the weekend's career atmosphere. It favors modernization, technological adaptation, information-based enterprise, network building, unconventional business models, and the dismantling of obsolete professional structures. The significance is strategic rather than merely immediate. A career system that has become inefficient can be redesigned. The weekend is particularly useful for recognizing where an old method is consuming resources without producing corresponding results, and considering what technological, intellectual, or organizational replacement could perform the same function more effectively. The changes houses and angles provide an additional temporal layer. Around midnight on August 14th and August 15th, Taurus rises, placing the Leo concentration initially across the 4th, 3rd house territory, depending on the body, while Uranus occupies the 1st and the career axis. Places Aquarius at the midheaven. At midday, Scorpio rises and the same planets shift dramatically into the upper hemisphere. The Sun reaches the 10th house, Mercury and Jupiter occupy the 9th, and Venus and the Moon move into the 11th. This creates a pronounced difference between the private, internal, and public professional expression of the same planetary configuration. By midday, the career symbolism becomes much more explicit. Sun in the 10th house emphasizes visibility and status. Mercury, Jupiter in the 9th emphasizes knowledge, communication, teaching, publishing, international or broader market thinking. Venus and the Moon in the 11th emphasize networks, audiences, alliances, and collective opportunities. The changing angles mean the emphasis is not static across the weekend. Professional visibility becomes particularly pronounced during the Scorpio rising periods. The nodal axis adds a significant status versus foundation theme. The true north node remains at approximately 29.8 degrees Aquarius, while the true south node remains at 29.8 degrees Leo, moving only slightly across the weekend. The Leo south node sits close enough to the sun's Leo territory to reinforce a question of what kind of recognition is actually worth pursuing. Career ambition can become trapped in the need to prove oneself, obtain applause, or maintain an established identity. The Aquarius North Node points instead toward broader usefulness, networks, systems, innovation, and contribution beyond personal validation. The weekend therefore favors leadership that creates real utility and scalable impact rather than leadership pursued solely for recognition. True Black Moon Lilith provides another subtle but important movement. It retreats from approximately 10.8 degrees Capricorn on August 14th to about 3.1 degrees Capricorn by midday August 16th. Its retrograde movement through Capricorn emphasizes the shadow side of ambition, hierarchy, authority, achievement, and material success. In career terms, this can expose unhealthy relationships with status, control, institutional approval, or the belief that professional worth must be demonstrated through conventional markers of success. The productive response is to examine which ambitions genuinely belong to the long-term strategy and which are driven by the need to prove something. Overall, this weekend strongly favors professional expansion through ideas, communication, visibility, innovation, and strategic reinvention. The Mercury-Jupiter conjunction supplies the opportunity. Uranus supplies originality. The Jupiter-Saturn/Uranus relationships supply pathways for turning expansion into something structurally viable. And Uranus-Pluto relationship supplies a longer-term transformational momentum. The principal threats are Mars square Neptune, confusion, and Venus-Neptune overvaluation. Acting without clarity, believing promises too readily, or mistaking an attractive possibility for a commercially viable one. The best use of the weekend is therefore sequential. Develop the vision, improve the underlying work, test the idea against reality, define its financial and operational terms, and then present it with confidence. By August 16th, the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction is sufficiently concentrated that a professional idea can be ready to move from conceptual territory into a more explicit proposition. The strongest outcome is not simply more ambition, quote unquote. It is ambition converted into a credible, communicatable, and structurally sustainable career opportunity. So that is what I had for you today, collective. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like this video, or comment this video, share this video, or hype this video, or subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, or hype our channel by letting your friends and acquaintances who might benefit from it know about it. All those acts would be great and greatly appreciated. Now, there's a magical service being offered in the description box. Feel free to check it out. It could be very useful. This is, after all, a magical channel. Beyond that, I thank you very much for being here and for your time and being part of our tribe and supporting our channel. Until the next time, blessings.